Baby squirrel use a sexy motherfucker.
I think this might be clickbait. I'm not sure about you, but you know, seems like clickbait to me. You see this? You see those Pop-Tarts?
Yes.
Well, guess what? You know how they were Pop-Tarts? No, they're not anymore. They're now called toaster pastries. Dude, these are the shit. I love these. It's the Kool-Aid man. Do you think you might be a rapist?
Oh yeah.
Never suspect anything.
Have a bag or
We'll
something.
smuggle all these Pop-Tarts in. Hey guys, what's up? You ready for this? I got the ticket. We have Pop-Tarts, alright? We're gonna smuggle the Pop-Tarts.
Give me the ticket.
You know what time it is? It's final thoughts time. You're unbanned. I give you the unbanned pass. Jack isn't here, so you can't say that you're banned.
Wait, he's banned.
Okay. I give it a 6 out of 10.
Hey, no spoilers, by the way.
I ain't gonna spoil it. I give it a 6 out of 10. I didn't expect what the ending would be.
Okay.
I'm a weeb.
Okay.
7.5. I don't know, whatever he said.
Whatever he said.
I'm a weeb.
Alita Battle Angel. Alita Battle Angel, directed by the wonderful James Cameron, is a pretty good movie. If I was to describe this movie as anything, to me, this movie feels like a can of beans that are just absolutely delicious, like top notch. And then when you get to the half of it, you realize that the bottom half of the can has nothing but air. It's only the top half has beans. And by the way, the middle half has like no sauce at all, it's just beans. But the top layer of these beans are so delicious that it leaves me craving for more. That will be my analogy of Alita Battle Angel, but as always, let's get right into the spoiler-free review. This is the part where, if you haven't seen the movie yet, well, you can watch this part and then make your own opinions on what do you think. Should you watch the movie or should you not? Alita Battle Angel's main character, Alita, is fantastic. She has a whole really cool fish out of water vibe that as it progresses later on and you see her character developed, it's really fun and it's really enjoyable. Maybe towards the last 1/4 of the movie, it starts to get a little bit meh, but before that, her character development is amazing, and as always, her character is extremely charming. Also, if you haven't already realized by watching the trailers, this movie is absolutely gorgeous. I don't think I've seen CGI at this level ever. The entire world and Alita's character animation, every single bit of the CGI is top notch. You aren't going to get any better CGI than this in any movie, and I don't think I've seen better CGI in any movie than in this movie. If you're a really big fan of action, I feel like this movie is like totally for you, because there's a super ton of really well choreographed and really epic action scenes that take place in this movie, and I feel like that you would really seriously miss out if you don't watch this movie for the action scenes and if you're a huge action scene, fighting scene fan, because I swear, this movie has some of the best action scenes I've ever seen in any film. This is like comparable to something I would say like Mission Impossible Fallout, which I don't think I've done a thoughts on that, but still, that movie has incredible action sequences in it, and they're super well shot, and they're gorgeous. This movie, I would say, almost rivals that, but actually no, I would just say that this movie rivals those fight scenes. So if you're a fan of action and fighting, go see the movie. Now, the weakest point of the movie, I would say, is probably the story. Now, I haven't read the manga, but from what I've heard, this story follows like the manga page by page, book by book. I believe the film covers the movie from the first book to the fourth book, which is a lot to cram into one movie, but I've heard that's what they did. And because it's like almost a page by page adaptation from a manga, it's a bit weird to the Western audience, because, you know, the way mangas tell stories is kind of episodic. So this kind of feels like one episode in a huge universe, and this is like the prologue of what the character's been through. By the way, I would totally be into it if they could create a live-action TV show, but with this high production quality, I don't think they can. I mean, honestly, money doesn't just come out of nowhere, alright? Unless it makes, like, super bank, they're not going to be able to make a TV show. From a movie's perspective, this movie has, the first 1/4 of it is rather good and, like, great storytelling, and the second 3/4 of it has this super weird love plot that gets into it, and this romantic subplot is just not good. And I don't know, maybe it's the manga, the source material's fault, or maybe it's just that the source material is not possible to adapt that well into an actual movie, or maybe it's the actor of Yugo, but still the romantic subplot, which then becomes a main plot much later on to the second half, it's I have mixed feelings about it, definitely. So, overall, should you go see this movie? Well, if you like action, if you like things that just look gorgeous, and if you like anime and manga, this is for you. But, if you're into super deep storytelling and you really don't care about fighting, you really don't care about the CGI and stuff, then you can pass on this movie. Alright, so that's the end of my non-spoiler review. Now, spoilers. Spoilers, 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 alright? Time for the spoilers talk. So, what did I think about the movie? I really enjoyed the movie, actually. Even though the plot, after looking at it a few more times, kind of feels cheesy, maybe melodramatic, maybe bad. But I just enjoyed the movie. And I got it first. The first thing that's in my mind when I started writing this review is that the ending of the movie, it felt like such a cliffhanger. I mean, the movie feels like a long epic that has a conclusion, but the conclusion is in the sequel, which I think, if I know correctly, Alita doesn't get to the Sky City and meet that character that was teased at the end of the movie, the guy with the goggles. Until, like, much later. He only appears a little in the 5th volume, the 5th book, and then slowly he appears more later and later on. So, and also she hasn't gone to the giant floaty city thing in the sky yet. So, I'm a bit disappointed, and it was definitely a huge cliffhanger for me. The second the credits started rolling, I was sitting next to two of my friends, and I just went like, what? That's it? What? How? No! I want to know more! Alright? Which I think it's good, because it kind of grasped me in, and if this ever has a sequel, I will watch it. If not for the story, then just for the action scenes and all that. But I am genuinely sort of kind of maybe a teeny bit interested in the mysterious city they hyped up, just because they did such a good job of hyping this up as the almighty, powerful area where all the rich people get to go. I'm sorry, Jessica. Did I hurt your feeling? But also, there's this skater basketball game that is played in the movie that I just felt was unnecessary. Maybe it developed Yugo and Alita's relationship, but honestly, Yugo is... I don't buy Yugo's love story with Alita. It's like they're the first, she's the first... It feels like she's the first attractive female that he meets, and he's the first human that she meets, and that's why they fall in love. I don't really buy it. Their ideologies... I mean, Alita doesn't really have that much ideology, because she still has part of her programming intact, and I guess she does have a personality, but it's always the goal, the mission, the next thing that she has to do that keeps her going forward. And Yugo just... I don't get how she fell in love and all that with Yugo. I feel like it feels kind of cheesy, and the fact that it takes up so much, and even the climax of the story, I don't know. I just did not like Yugo. And I thought it would have been better without Yugo's romantic plot. But, you know, it's there, and it's done below average, but it's not The Room, it's not Twilight, so if we ignore the romantic subplot that becomes a main plot, just shove that to the side. Can we just talk about how amazing everything looks? The movie is so gorgeous. There's this one shot panning down from a building into a huge gateway, and the gate opens, and Alita walks through, and that shot made me feel unbelievable feelings inside my pants. Overall, the cinematography of this movie, and even the starting shot where the Doctor discovers Alita, I love it. I love it. I love the cinematography of this movie. And also, let's talk about the Doctor character. I feel like he had a pretty great father-daughter relationship with Alita, and yeah, that's all I can really say. He feels like a real person, not like Hugo, which feels like a fictional character, but the Doctor actually feels like a real person, and I've heard they made some changes from him in the comics, but I think they did it rather well, if I would say so myself. Finally, the villains, the master bounty hunter with the powerful sword thing. I think he's done pretty well. He's kind of like, he's not the big bad, but he's like the jerk that bullies you constantly. That's his character, and he feels like annoyance. He feels like hindrance. He feels like someone like the Joker who's just mad and insane. And so that guy with the sword, I don't even know his name. I'm just gonna call him Guy with the Sword. Here's I hurt my hand, so I can't really snap. But hear a snapping noise. Here's Guy with the Sword. This is who he is, just in case you don't know who I'm talking about. Yep, I love this character. Also, by the way, I almost forgot. Hugo has a crew of people. You know what happens to the crew? They die. They literally just die, and the part that they died, I was just like, what the hell? What's the point of even hyping up or doing anything to these characters? They're just gonna die. They feel more meaningless than side characters. They're like almost just filler people in the background. I think they had to say like 2 lines each, combined throughout the entire movie. I guess they are there for to show what Hugo's been getting himself into, doing his illegal businesses, but still, probably some of the worst characters I've ever seen in any. Well, probably some of the worst side characters I've ever seen in any fictional work. Last but not least, the villain. The villain is this guy. Snapping noise. This guy. Yeah, this guy's the villain, and he just kind of dies. But he's more like a puppet of the main villain, which is the guy with the goggles. Snap. See, this guy. And we never really get to see him, so I guess the best villain in the entire movie goes to Guy with the Sword. Congrats, Guy with the Sword is Taylor's rating of the best antagonist in Alita Battle Angel. But yeah, anyways, that's pretty much it. Alita Battle Angel, enjoyable movie. Maybe not the best movie. Storyline-wise, at least definitely not the best movie. But cinematography, CGI, the action scenes, this movie has some real potential, and if there's ever a sequel, I'll see it. Because there's some feelings that I got out of this movie that I don't know why I did, but I did. No, I'm not a weeaboo. But yeah, anyways, Alita Battle Angel gets a 7 out of 10. Okay to good in my book. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today's thoughts. I'll see y'all in a few millennias. See ya.
Charlie, they locked up the Tide Pods, bro. They locked up the Tide Pods, dude.
Like some detergent that fell out.
Yeah.